This semester, I had the opportunity to observe at Delaware Elementary School. Delaware is a high-poverty school in the EVSC. 92.1% of the students at Delaware, as of 2014-2015, had free meals, according to the IDOE. Delaware Elementary is a K-6 school in the EVSC. I had the great honor of being in Miss Pace's kindergarten room along with her student teacher by the name of Mrs. Williams. Miss Pace's room is located on the first floor of the building along with the other kindergarten classroom and the lower levels. When it comes to learning theories, I would say that the one that had the greatest emphasis in Miss Pace's classroom was behaviorism. Behaviorism is a theory based on the idea that people will learn from positive and negative reinforcement. In Miss Pace's classroom, she had tons of posters displayed around the room that displayed the rules which the students should follow throughout the day. Miss Pace had a clip system set in place for her classroom. The idea behind this system is to promote good behavior throughout the day. Students start each day out on ready to learn. When students cause some sort of disturbance within the classroom, their clip is moved down. When students show good or excellent behavior throughout the day, their clip is moved up. The idea behind this is to move their clip towards the Hall of Fame, where they are then rewarded. When it comes to differentiated instruction, Miss Pace had definitely included this in her classroom. Most children are beginning to learn to read when they enter kindergarten, but some are a little more advanced. This being said, Miss Pace was accommodating to this, as she had a variety of books on different subjects for readers of different levels in her class. Every time I visited Delaware to observe Miss Pace's classroom, they were working in literacy stations. Students were at a given station where they would work for X amount of time until a bell would sound. Miss Pace would then ask her friends to quietly clean up. She would then sound another bell which would indicate to move to the next literacy station. It is said that a classroom should be set up 80% student talk and 20% teacher talk. In Miss Pace's classroom, I would say that it was at least a 60% teacher talk and 40% student talk. Miss Pace would lead most of the conversation by asking questions, but she definitely encouraged students to speak up when they had something to say referring to the subject that they were talking about. When students were working at their literacy stations, Miss Pace would encourage them to stay quiet and interact with the given activity at their station. When students would get too loud, or Miss Pace would notice that they got off task, she would use positive reinforcement by saying things like, "I know you can do it, let me see what you can do," or "That looks great." Being a good listener was definitely encouraged more than speaking out for students in this classroom. Miss Pace would use instruction like, "Zip your lips," as students acted like they were zipping their lips, and "Turn your listening ears on," where students would act as if there was a switch by their ear and click it on. Students were always encouraged to raise their hand before speaking as well in group discussion. The time when I saw more student talk than teacher talk was when students were at the Read with Miss Pace literacy station. She definitely encouraged students to share what they had to say about that day's activity. Every time students gave feedback, she would make sure to use a positive demeanor and say things like, "You are so smart," to encourage students to keep talking and engaging in the student-based discussion. Miss Pace had a window full of new words students had been learning based on the first letter. Most of the words were words that students had come up with to put on the list. One thing I really loved about this was that each word had a coordinating picture to help students identify the word. Across the classroom, Miss Pace also kept track of all the new sight words that students were learning each week. Reading was definitely encouraged throughout Miss Pace's classroom. As you can see, there is a vast amount of books for students and teachers to read. Miss Pace also had stuffed characters from books placed on bookshelves and throughout her room to make the characters come more to life as students read or teachers read aloud to the students. And the books don't end here. At one place in the classroom, there was a substantial amount of books for student discovery and reading. Each basket had a subject tag, and all the books within each basket coordinated. At one of the literacy stations, students were asked to pick a book of their choice with a partner. They were to look through the book in a picture walk fashion and discuss what was going on in the text based off of pictures. This was a type of IDR for these young students. Another form of reading encouraged in this classroom was read along with technology, such as on a ThinkPad or an iPad. Students at this literacy station listened to short stories read to them based on a category that they were interested in. Students were to follow along with the reader and complete a small activity to sum it up. Something I was really excited to see was how much writing was encouraged in this kindergarten room. Most students in kindergarten are also learning how to write. so writing at this young age is very important. Not a lot of writing, other than a few letters on whiteboards, was observed while I was there. Most of the stations encouraged more reading than writing. One day while observing, I was able to see that there was indeed a station dedicated to not only reading, but writing as well. Unfortunately, Miss Pace did not use this literacy station on this day. To my understanding, the station was used recently during the week. I am still unsure of why it wasn't being used on this day. Although I wasn't able to view much writing inside of the classroom, I was able to witness the direction for an assignment one day, and when I came back the next, the products were posted above their lockers outside of the classroom. Students were discussing fall and were to write a story and draw a picture to go along with the story. Literacy station set up in the classroom where I saw a little bit of writing was the Read with Miss Williams literacy station. In this picture, students are working on letter and sound recognition. Mrs. Williams would sound out a letter or a word, and students were to write down the letter or word on the dry erase board, and then they were to call out the letter or word. Being able to observe Miss Pace's classroom opened my eyes to what I can do in my future classroom with literacy, reading, and writing. Even though I was only there during the reading time, I was able to observe how the reading also influenced their literacy and writing. Each one of these words have a definition of their own, but altogether they blend into something much greater. There are many theories and ideas of the way a classroom should be set up. All in all, I believe that Miss Pace's method for her classroom is the best because it worked. She has a great relationship with her students and always wants to encourage them to do their best. Her students listen to her instruction, respect what she has to say, and engage in classroom activity. This is a great experience that in the end gives me great insight to what my future holds.